talking about Elijah and Elisha, but I want you to start to understand what clothing represents in the spirit. And so think about this. Think about the story of Joseph. We see Joseph, he's the right hand of his father. And what Joseph is doing is he's wearing a coat of many colors. It's a beautiful coat. Beautiful coat that the Bible talks about. But it's interesting that there's a transition each time in Joseph's life when his season change, when his surroundings change, his clothing also changes. Notice that when his brothers go to betray Joseph, that they throw him inside of a pit and they take off his coat of many colors that he was wearing and they dip it in blood. Okay, this is very interesting. And so now he's naked, he's in this pit, and nakedness is a picture of sin or being away from the Lord. Remember when Adam fell, that they saw that they were naked. The Bible talks about in Revelation that Jesus is talking to one of the churches and he says, you think you're close to me, but you're far, you're naked, you're blind. These are things that happen to us in the spirit when we're not clothed with Christ. When we're no longer clothed in righteousness, we are naked in the spirit. And so this is a negative thing. And so Joseph is showing this picture that he's in a pit, he's away, right, spiritually from the Lord. He's fallen into this and he's naked. His covering has left him, right? And now we see it moves forward, and now he's in Potiphar's home. In Potiphar, he's had supernatural favor with Potiphar, right? And now Potiphar has given him all authority in his home. He's right hand to Potiphar. But then Potiphar's wife starts to get some ideas, and now she's attracted to Joseph, and she's asking him every day, like, would you come and lie with me? Come and lie with me. And one time she grabs onto his clothing and she says, come and lie with me. And Joseph, he runs away and he leaves his clothing behind. And now again, Joseph is naked, right? He's naked, thrown in prison because he's accused of something that he did not do. Now, just to clarify, Joseph did nothing wrong when he was thrown into the pit, nor when he was trying to be taken advantage of by Potiphar's wife. But understand the spiritual significance that his clothing is shifting and changing each and every time that his season is changing. I want you to catch this. This is happening in the spirit with us. Let's keep going with the story of Joseph. And so now he's in the prison and he's been there for a long period of time. The Bible actually doesn't say, but he interprets dreams for the baker and for the cupbearer. And he actually tells the dreams and he's asking, would you tell Pharaoh the gift that the God has given me, that I'm innocent, and etc. Nothing is said for 2 additional years. But now there's one of the baker or the cupbearer, I can't remember which one, I believe it's the cupbearer, survives this, right? And he tells Pharaoh, after Pharaoh has this dream that he can't interpret, he tells him about Joseph. And so now Joseph is summoned to come before Pharaoh, and the Bible says that they shaved him. So he was in a really bad situation. He wasn't even shaven. They shaved him and they put on Joseph new clothing to go and stand before Pharaoh. And so now his time of promotion, where he's standing before Pharaoh, he gets another clothing change. He stands before Pharaoh. He has humility. His heart has changed. Now he's no longer the young man that's running to his brothers and his father and telling them, hey, I had a dream of you bowing down to me. No. Now he's saying, I don't have any ability in myself to interpret this dream. I have no ability in myself, but there's a God that I know that can interpret your dream. And so Pharaoh now, he gets the dream interpreted by Joseph, and immediately he tells Joseph he's going to have a new chain on his neck. He's going to have new clothing, and he's going to be second in command over all of Egypt, second only to Pharaoh himself. And we see he gets a new clothing change for the final time. I want you to understand that his clothing, his mantle was changing, shifting in the spirit each and every time that he was going to a different level in the spirit. I want you to understand, when we're talking about mantles, naturally they might have been cloaks. A mantle was just a cloak, or to put it simply, it was a coat. It was the outer garment that would cover. And that's actually what the word mantle means. It means to cover something in a broad way. It actually, when you look at the pictograph, a pictograph is basically every letter in the Hebrew language was actually a symbol or a picture. And when you put those different pictures together, you get the full meaning of a person, but like an entire household. It would surround it, right? And so understand that Joseph, he was receiving new mantles in new seasons. He was going to higher levels. Even when he was going lower, the Lord was taking him higher and changing out his clothing. And it's interesting because we also see in the Bible that it talks about people's clothing being rent. When something negative would happen, they would rend their clothing. When something shocking would happen, they would rend or tear their clothing. Well, this is a picture of the soul. Because sometimes we go through things, heartaches, and remember, we're talking about mantles, I haven't forgot. But sometimes we go through things in our life where it breaks us, where it tears something, where it shatters a piece of our hearts. This is a picture. But the Bible says, I want you to rend your hearts and not your clothing. The Bible again is showing us there's a connection between the clothing that people are wearing in the Bible and their souls or their spirits. And so understand, when it talks about in the Bible, when it talks about Elijah and Elisha, the mantle that is falling is actually the spirit of Elijah. It's not just a piece of clothing he received. In the spirit, he received a measure of his spirit.